Thank you for tuning in to Entrepreneur. Today we're discussing another entrepreneurial topic. Our episodes are uploaded on every Wednesday. Welcome back to the Entrepreneur Podcast. So, today we want to talk about some numbers because we like numbers, we're math people. And we've noticed some increased interest recently when we shared numbers from some of our businesses. So we thought today we would share our kind of profit and loss for October for our Amazon e-commerce business. So October overall was our best month revenue-wise on Amazon ever. And it came in at a little over $42,000 in sales on our main Amazon account.
Wow.
Yeah, real excited about that. But how much of that was profit? We'll find out in a few minutes. And then I think we're also we have some numbers from our Turo business and what October looked like, and some thoughts on that. But before that, the question of the day, Kelly.
Okay. Josiah, would you rather keep a turkey as a pet for a year or have to kill the turkey you eat for Thanksgiving?
Interesting question. Keep a turkey as a pet or kill the turkey to eat? I in general don't really see the allure of having birds as pets. Except for maybe some of the more exotic parrot types that can talk to you, etc. That's just not something I'm interested in. Other than maybe if you're raising it for meat or for eggs in more of a farm agricultural setting. Turkey as a pet, why? Why would you do that? I think if you want a pet bird, there's a lot of better options.
I think if I had to choose, I'd probably have a pet chicken. Then I can at least get the eggs. That's what I would want.
Okay. Don't you need a rooster? Or no? I don't know. I don't know how it works.
Female chickens, most of them lay eggs daily.
Yeah, but like if you just had one hen, would you actually get eggs?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. I'm skeptical, but I don't know anything.
They lay eggs every day.
Okay. All right.
I think unless it's like stress induced or whatnot, or they're not getting enough food and stuff.
Yeah. Okay. So I see the allure to having chickens.
But would you rather keep it as a pet? The turkey. If you had to have a turkey, would you keep the turkey as a pet, or would you?
Oh, I'd absolutely
kill it for Thanksgiving.
Doesn't matter what the method is. Hunting it with a rifle.
Bow.
Chasing it down and chopping its head off with an axe.
Oh my!
I've done that with chickens before. I'd imagine it'd be a little more difficult with a turkey, but doesn't bother me.
See, I would not do that. I would rather keep the turkey for a year as a pet.
Just the physical act of killing it, you're uncomfortable with?
No, yep. I'll eat the turkey later, but it better be like plucked, skinned, all that.
Okay.
I don't want to.
Okay.
Well, maybe not skinned. Maybe you keep the skin on or whatever.
Yeah, I think I don't have a ton of experience in this area, but it based off of what I have done, it is a lot of work to kill and then prepare the animal, clean it, skin it.
Well, and it's not necessarily
pluck it, etc.
Yeah, it's not necessarily like the work aspect behind it that I wouldn't like. I think it's the killing the animal, and then like even if like you had killed it and then I have to help clean it up, I think that would just be too much. I don't think I could do that, knowing that, all of that going on.
A little too gruesome for you. All right.
Maybe. But you said a moment ago you chased down a chicken before?
Many years ago did a Boy Scout event where we got some chickens and let them loose in a field, chased them down, and then etc. ate them for dinner. They weren't the most active chickens. They were maybe a little more comfortable with humans. I don't know if you want to say they were domesticated, but they didn't run from us as much as we anticipated.
Oh, like it was almost disappointing.
Yeah, I don't know how they were raised, but they were comfortable with us. They didn't know that we were going to be their demise.
Oh man. Okay.
But still a interesting and fun event. Okay. Let's talk some numbers. So
let's start with Turo.
Yeah, you want to do that?
So we just got a Turo car. If you don't know anything about that, we did a full episode on this. What was that, like a couple episodes ago?
Yeah.
We can tag down below. But so you can look into that. But we got a Turo car a couple months ago, attached to our travel business called Travel Last Frontier. And we just thought we'd go over the October numbers for 2021. I think because we had gone over our August and September numbers in a previous episode.
Yeah,
so
we did. Yeah.
October, thought we'd update. So in October, we, I'm going to say profit, but it's really like in quotes because I didn't fully break down the expenses for it, but we'll just say what we received from Turo was $244. Not much, especially compared to a lot more we got a couple months ago.
Yeah, so that's how much Turo actually deposited into our business bank account. And then from there, what Kelly's saying we don't have the numbers for today is the expenses that we had. And we had a decent number from some cleaning stuff and some parking fees and insurance. Those are probably the big three. But
sure, yeah. So ultimately October was poor.
we probably kind of broke even. Or
maybe
made like $1 or $2 or lost $1 or $2.
I think so. I think we earn not a ton. I would say it would maybe $150 is what we actually profited.
No, there's no way because our insurance alone is about $130.
Is that?
Yeah.
Is that what it is in a month?
We just have to see what the other expenses were, but the other expenses were
nice.
Probably at least $100, so that leaves us about $14 maybe best case.
Yeah, it wasn't good. We were hoping for more, but we had chatted at the end of September, early October, hoping for better results in October, but we kind of realized and it kind of confirmed that October is not necessarily great for Turo. But within October, we had 2 trips, and they were each 2 days long each. So that kind of gives you some numbers there. Price-wise per day definitely went down. Out of the 244, that's not going to give you the exact price we priced it at per day because Turo takes out their fees and whatnot. But yeah, it was a lot less. We certainly did not have 30 days booked out or something.
Yeah, and I think at the peak of the summer we might have gotten 150 or so per day as the fee, and now with winter rates we're more in the 60 to 70-ish range per day. So
yeah.
Half or so what we were getting before.
Right.
And there's definitely way, way, way less. So how about, what's November looking like? Is it going to be better?
So we're recording this in the first week of November. And so far we had, I think it was technically actually booked last week technically in October, but we have 2 trips booked out, for multiple days. We ended up changing the minimum number of days somebody can book a trip, so you can set that as clearly as little as a day, but we set it to 3 days minimum, planning that out for the rest of the winter. So far we have 2 trips booked out for more than 3 days each, and so far our projected profit from Turo, like so income coming like Turo would put into our account, is supposed to be like nearly 3 times that of October's. So a lot better. Actually probably not breaking even this month.
Yeah. So we will definitely, as long as those trips don't get canceled, we'll definitely make positive profit in November. And one of those trips I think is a longer. It's over a week long. So I
think it's about 7 or 8 days. That's what we want.
If we could get like 3 or 4 week long trips each month, that would be a great scenario.
Yeah.
For that business.
Yeah. So hopefully next month we can give you more detailed numbers, especially about November. But for now, this is what we have.
Yeah. Okay. Let's talk about some numbers that are bigger than $100. Let's talk about our e-commerce business. So
The business is actually bringing us full-time income.
yeah. So something I've struggled with from day one of this business is the accounting and tracking everything associated with that for a couple of reasons. I'd say the first is just a lack of desire or excitement. That's not something I want to do.
Which is funny because, yeah, we do like numbers, but can get very tedious.
Yeah, but I don't like, this is like a different kind of numbers. I don't like staring at spreadsheets and categorizing expenses. I'd rather be actually making money, buying and selling inventory. That's what the business is. I'm not, it's not an accounting firm. And then the second reason, there's just a overall lack of knowledge. Like, I didn't really know what to do or how to do it from the beginning. How do you categorize different transactions? What about when a purchase you made gets refunded because it has to get canceled? Or what about interest that you get from your bank account? It's just been kind of confusing, and I guess you could say a steep learning curve, at least for me. And then the final reason that I've kind of not done this as well as I should is just the overwhelming aspect of what we're looking at. I just looked a little earlier. In the month of October, we had 465 transactions.
Wow.
And those were over spread across 7 different bank accounts. So there's just a lot going on. A lot of money coming in, a lot of money going out. Hopefully more coming in than going out. But we'll look at that in a second. So why are we sharing these numbers? I would say I think both of us have been very hesitant to share any numbers associated with our businesses. But in the last month or so, we kind of had a change in our thought process. In that we didn't really want to share because we in general are fairly private, and we don't want to come across as bragging or in any way look at how successful we are and flash some big numbers. Like that's not at all our desire through this. And the numbers we share might seem really big to you, or they might seem really small. Everybody's in a different situation, has different family, personal expenses, lives in different economies. The rent that we pay here in Alaska might be 2 or 3 times the rent that you pay somewhere else in the country.
And it might also be a third of what you pay.
Yeah, there's certainly places that are more expensive than where we are right here. So take that in mind. We're not trying to be flashy or showy with this. But I think for me at least, some of the reasons that I have a desire to share this now is last year, for this business in particular, I did all of the accounting at tax time. I didn't really do anything throughout the year, and that was a terrible idea. So
don't do that.
Yeah, don't do that. That made me have to look at a $45 transaction and be like, okay, I don't know what that is, and then become a detective and figure out that was from Walmart a year ago, and then I had to find the receipt. And the receipt by this point, it's a year old. It's faded and wrinkled, and it just has a cryptic message that says WMD FDX clearance.
Yeah.
Yeah, nobody knows what that is. I don't think Walmart even knows what that is. So this year, I've really been striving to do it on a monthly basis. I think that's good for me. I just have to suffer once a month, 12 times a year. And then,
sounds worse.
And then maybe once more to compile all that for the taxes. So I guess 13. It sounds worse, but it's in much smaller chunks. And I've still had trouble forcing myself to do this. There have been months where I kind of just, nah, I'm not going to do it. I'll do it next month. So I think that for me, if we promise to share these numbers monthly, and I think that's probably going to be something we'll start doing. We'll share a podcast like this once a month, at least focusing on this business. We might add in some of our others like the Turo and stuff. But if we do that, that'll keep me accountable and force me to actually do it. I don't think there's any other way I'm going to get myself to do it because it just sucks. And then maybe someday I'll just hire someone to do it. Probably not quite to that point yet, but that would be a great goal. Hire someone so I don't even have to think about it. And then maybe they'll just do this podcast for us.
Oh my goodness.
Last thing on that is I think it's really cool to show what's possible. Specifically with an Amazon e-commerce business, I think there's so much opportunity there if you're trying to start a business. Or also what's possible leaving what some would say is a steady job for entrepreneurial pursuits. Like it's possible to be successful.
Right.
We've done it. We're average people. I don't have a business degree. Just random engineering degree and spent a couple years in the Army. Like, I have lots of experience and skills, but none of it you would say is like, that's a businessman.
Right.
And then also, I think it's really cool how we've been able to organically grow and scale a business from just a couple $100 a couple years ago, and with zero debt or no use of any credit or borrowing money, we've scaled that to the numbers we're about to talk about, and selling 42 grand worth of inventory this past month. Any other thoughts on that, Kelly?
Just like helping in general others to see, that this is possible. I think both of us having engineering backgrounds and being about numbers, I think when we were starting out, we kind of were like seeing this from others was super helpful, like, on YouTube, or maybe we heard from a friend or whatnot about specifically like, wow, they're running a business and making a full-time income. Like, how is that possible? And that's, I think, what we want to get at is encourage others by being specific, still being private and like about some stuff, but being as specific as we can to help others help you all see that it's possible.
Absolutely. That's a really good point. We're getting to the numbers. We're going to get to those real quick in just a second. But I think in case there's someone like me who's like me a year ago, I wanted to share what software I've been using. And I think from what I've seen, this is kind of what a lot of e-commerce Amazon sellers use as well. So first, I use QuickBooks. A lot of people use QuickBooks. For different accounting and transaction things. What's good about it is it tracks every transaction from my bank accounts. It's linked to the accounts, and it automatically pulls those transactions in, expenses and income. And then they have preset categories that you move those expenses to, categorize them as. And you can set up automatic rules so that maybe you have a particular expense that happens every month. You can set an automatic rule so it automatically gets categorized, and that's actually less work for you now. You don't actually have to do a couple clicks on that transaction. So that's been really helpful. I would say it was and still is a steep learning curve. I still don't know how to fully utilize it, but I'm getting a little bit better each month. If that's something you're interested in or have been looking into, we'll add a link in our bio. I got a good deal when I signed up for it for the first 6 months or year. So I wanted to share that if you sign up through our link, you can get 50% off for the first 6 months, which is pretty good. And the level I'm on is the self-employed level, which is $15 a month. So it's in the scheme of things, that's pretty inexpensive, especially for the scale of business I'm running right now. So you could, if you use that link, you can get it for like $7 or so per month. Pretty good deal.
And saves you a ton of time, especially preparing, like if you're doing it 12 times a year, like Josiah is, or even like, oh gosh, don't wait till April to do it. But yeah, it can help prepare you for April or sooner. Set up all those numbers, especially with that automatic categorizing. That's like huge. That has saved you tons of time.
Yeah. I think we've tried a couple free or cheaper options like the Wave app, I think it is.
Yeah, Wave app.
And that just wasn't working for the level of my business with the number of transactions. It wasn't as dependable as I needed. Mm-hmm. Didn't quite do everything. But if you're just getting started, don't have a lot of transactions, and don't really have the money to invest in something like this, maybe check out Wave.
Yeah, we use Wave for Turo, and that's it's been nice. It's been good because we don't have tons of transactions going in and out.
Yeah, we probably have around 10 transactions a month, so way easier to handle.
Right.
If we wanted to, we could just do that on a spreadsheet, no problem, in about the same amount of time.
But Wave will automatically pull in your bank account info, just like QuickBooks does. But yeah, if you're having a ton of transactions going in and out, I would stray away from Wave and go to QuickBooks.
Yeah. The other software I use is Inventory Lab, and this is huge. This has been a game changer for me and the accounting and all the numbers. Inventory Lab, I believe, is specific only to Amazon. So if you're not selling on Amazon, it might not be of interest to you. And it's primarily used for tracking cost of goods. So tracking inventory purchase costs, and then long-term connecting it to the cost and the other fees associated with the sale when you finally sell that item. Ultimately, in order to figure out what your profits are. And it also pulls in other expenses like your shipping fees, your Amazon fees, storage fees, etc.
Would this be like a good option for those who are on, like, I don't know, Etsy or Poshmark or anything like that? Or is it just for Amazon?
I think it's only for Amazon. I think it's an Amazon specific software. And we haven't really found something like this for eBay. If there is something like this for eBay, let me know, because I could use that.
Yeah.
Because I've been struggling with tracking these kind of things for eBay specifically. I haven't found a great way. But Inventory Lab has been a game changer, and it also has very efficient ways for listing your inventory. Much easier than listing through the Amazon seller platform website. Way better. Okay, let's talk about numbers. So, this is all the juicy details that you're here for, maybe. I don't know. I don't know why you're here. Let me know why you're here.
The numbers.
Yeah. So, for the month of October 2021, our total sales were $42,547.99.
You missed it by a penny.
99 cents. Yeah. My goal was to hit 50,000. And we were short by a little bit. And I have a couple ideas of why, and we'll talk about that later. Now, immediately, we had some refunds, unfortunately. So some of these were returns or canceled transactions, and that was a little over $2,500. So that brings that total to $40,639.96. That's still a huge number. All right, so the actual expenses. The biggest expense that we have and that most people have in this industry is your actual cost of inventory. So our cost of goods sold was almost $20,000, almost half that number. It was $19,792. So that's pretty big. We moved about $20,000 worth of inventory this month. That's by far the biggest expense there. Now, we have a lot of different fees associated with selling on Amazon. Amazon, Daddy Bezos, he always gets his cut. But it's a good relationship because...
Daddy Bezos.
Yeah, Big Jeff.
I don't know, it took me a second to finally get that.
Who's Daddy Bezos? Big Jeff, he's up there in his spaceship watching over us.
Oh my gosh.
There's a ton of fees. I don't know if other platforms like eBay have more or less fees, but Amazon has a lot of fees.
They gotta get their cut.
The fees just keep rising and rising, but it's still so lucrative to sell on Amazon. You just can't compete with that marketplace. You can almost always sell items for a higher price on Amazon, especially if you're able to offer them with Prime shipping. And other platforms just can't compete. Walmart is trying. They have Walmart Plus. They have a lot of options for third-party sellers there. They're trying to, or they've started. I don't know too much about it. They've started their fulfillment warehouses similar to Amazon. So they're trying to compete. They're trying to make a push. But Amazon is way ahead of everybody and crazy innovative when it comes to the e-commerce industry. So I willingly, well, I don't have an option, but I willingly pay these fees as large as they are.
What was that percentage of sales that happened on Amazon? Like overall e-commerce sales, anything that sells online, was what percentage of the market in general?
Well, yeah, I think last I looked, Amazon ruled about, if not more than 50% of the e-commerce industry.
Yeah.
They're the giant, and I saw a stat the other day or maybe today, and I think it was, don't quote me on this, 9 out of 10 customers will price check an item before buying it. They'll price check it with Amazon. Think about it. If you go to a store and you're thinking about buying a book, but maybe their cost is like a little high, what do? You're going to look it up on Amazon. People do that all the time without even thinking. And that's because of how Amazon has established themselves as the authority on the subject of e-commerce and sales in general.
And it's just so easy. You have your phone with you already. You're already out. It's right there. And then we've actually did that the other day. We were out and you were like, let me check to see if it's on Amazon. Because we didn't mind buying the used version of this book that we were looking at instead of just the brand new version. And we looked it up and you bought it right then and there.
Yeah. So if you have the Amazon app on your phone and you go to the search bar, there's actually a function somewhere in there to open up a camera, and then you can scan products from the barcode, or maybe even it'll recognize the packaging
or the cover of the book,
and it'll search for it in the Amazon sales pages, and you can see what it's going for on Amazon, or you can read some reviews if that's what you're looking for. Amazon is a great platform for kind of finding out if it's a good product or just trash. But you didn't come here to hear me rant about why Amazon is better than everything else. Selling fees. This is money that Amazon got. $6,018. FBA transaction fees. These are specific to items that were sold from the Amazon warehouses and they fulfilled. $1,931. And then we have $300 in storage and shipping fees. That's also associated with their warehouses. And then the last expense there is $1,585. And that's kind of a lot of different things, but most of that, probably about 90% of that, is merchant fulfilled shipping fees. So when I ship something from my office, usually through USPS, that's the label cost associated with that. So that, all those expenses there, comes to a total of $29,627 worth of expenses. That's what Inventory Lab compiled, and then Inventory Lab says based off of that, our profit was $11,012. But hold on, we got a couple more expenses that Inventory Lab doesn't see that are only in QuickBooks. But $11,000, that's pretty great. I like that number. So other expenses in QuickBooks, we have a company vehicle that we use for post office trips, inventory sourcing, whatever. So there was $226 there. I think. Yeah, it was in October. I had to renew the registration. That was $170 to re-register that with the DMV. What a bunch of crooks. I don't know what they do for me.
Yuck.
Besides transfer titles, I guess. And I think that was for 2 years. So I guess divided by 2, that's not too bad. Then we had I started a new insurance for the business, and that had some. I don't remember what the monthly rate is, but we paid 170 this month. I think that was some of that was just like extra startup fees. Then the biggest expense here is shipping and prep center services. I have some shipping costs that aren't able to be compiled in the Amazon platform. And then the other big one is the prep center services. So I utilize some prep center services not in Alaska to delegate some of the work and to save some on shipping expenses because of where we live. And that's been super, super handy. So that came to $542 in October. And then other expenses, $479. And most of these are monthly subscriptions. So that's a lot of monthly subscriptions there. One that's annual. Our Costco business membership renewed this past month. That was $100 something. Most of the others are for softwares like Inventory Lab, QuickBooks, some that help me source inventory. Let's see what else is in there. Oh, a couple groups I'm in. The kind of mentorship with other Amazon sellers where we can share wins and losses and help each other out.
And when you first got those, I remember you were like, well, it's kind of expensive. And then you realized you were like, I think I'll just do it. And then it was either in the decision-making process or later, months later, as you have been using it. You were super grateful that you got it because I remember last October, November, December even, we were kind of like totally naive to the fact that we were missing out on that coworker relationships, specifically for you. But beyond that, like even outside of work, like you might go meet up with some coworkers for dinner or something. And months into it, like I think it was like January, February timeframe, we were like, oh yeah, like this, we kind of have missed that. And so it's not the same as an in-person relationship, don't get me wrong, but having that somewhat feeling like a coworker who's in the same field, understands what you're talking about, is on your same like thought process and whatnot, having those subscriptions and groups that you've been in has been helpful, I know, for you.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. There's a group I'm in. I think I pay $75 a month. So it sounds like a lot, but the value I get out of that, there's a lot of sharing of particular inventory leads. And so I probably make thousands per month just from that profit wise. And then there's so much invaluable or information and questions and tips and motivation in there. So worth the 75. Definitely could be worth even more than that. I'm happy to pay 75 though. I don't want to pay 100. And yeah, that group in particular does Zoom meetings. I think twice a week. And honestly, I've never really participated. So that's something I thought about recently. I should participate in those and get a little bit more personal interactions with some of these people. I think that's kind of the next step for this business. So in total, those additional expenses came to $1,417, excuse me.
So that was what again? Just all these extra expenses?
Yeah, so that was
not
our
directly,
vehicle.
Not directly like the Amazon fees and stuff.
Yeah, okay. Some of the stuff that Amazon's not going to see. Vehicle expenses, insurance, prep center, and then a bunch of different subscriptions and memberships that renewed in October. So overall, our total profits from the month of October were $9,595.
Wow.
That's awesome. Real excited about that.
Wow.
Just short of 10 grand.
Impressive.
Now, I will say, we definitely profited over 10 grand. Because these numbers aren't everything. I have 2 Amazon accounts and an eBay account. These numbers are just from our main Amazon account, which does the bulk of the revenue. The other Amazon account was opened earlier this year for the purpose of doing only books, used books. And it's been having probably on average like $100 or so a day in sales. And so there is revenue coming through that. I just, as we talked earlier, haven't done the accounting for it because I don't want to. So that's kind of a goal for next month, is I'll include those numbers. And then same thing with the eBay as well. I'll probably do, on average, like maybe $2,000 in sales on eBay every month. So,
wow.
yeah.
So total sales was just over 42,000. So $42,547.99. And then with expenses, et cetera, all out of there, and some refunds, you had a total profit out of this account of $9,595. That's 22%.
Yeah.
22%. That's
yeah, profit
incredible.
margin is what she's talking about. So the 22% of that $42,000 number is profit. That's really good for probably, I mean, I don't know most businesses, but I think that's a good number. I don't really have anything to base that on.
Yeah.
Other than I like it.
I think sales we've heard in general, I think a good range is like 30% is pushing it. Like that's like crazy.
Yeah, I've
on the average.
This is the first month I've ever broken things down like this, as specific, and given myself the ability to know to the dollar what the profit looked like. So super motivating to do that. I've kind of known and assumed that our profit margin was between 20 and 30%, probably closer to the 25%. So it's cool to see that I was in the right range. It's at 22%.
Yeah.
And I'm happy with that. It would definitely be cool to raise that up a little, maybe cut back on some expenses where we can minimize those or remove them if they're not actually benefiting the business. I might go in later this week and look at what subscriptions we're paying for, because it's almost $500 there, and make sure that all of those are adding the value that I think they're worth in order to justify keeping them.
Sure.
So yeah, really cool to see how much profit's actually there, and that the methods we're using to scale and grow this business are working flawlessly. Couple thoughts on this month specifically. I think I mentioned before my goal and hope was to hit 50 grand in sales, and I've been trying for a couple months to hit the goal of 15 grand in profit. The first week and a half, 2 weeks of October were crazy good. I was like, Q4 is here. This is the month we hit 50 grand. Any thoughts on why we didn't quite make it there, Kelly?
Well, let's assume, 4 full weeks in a month. I mean, though, yes, October has like 31 days. We just do like work weeks. So we'll just assume 4 full weeks.
I looked for October. There's 21 work days in October. That's Mondays through Fridays.
Which is what we try to stick to. That's just been an agreement, like we both discussed. There are like days where we've made up on a Saturday or something, but like that's on the very rare. Yeah. So assuming that, and assuming like working like normal hours, like Josiah's not working like his Amazon business like 20 hours a day and getting 4 hours of sleep. Okay, something ridiculous. Like normal hours, probably. What would you say, Josiah? Like maybe 8 on average. Sometimes a little bit more, sometimes a little bit less. It just kind of depends on the day.
Hours per day.
Day
is what
you
you're
work,
talking about?
yeah.
Yeah, probably 8 or less on average.
Yeah.
So that's something that's a good idea. That maybe I should try to track that in the future. Right now, I don't know.
Yeah. So assuming like normal work hours. Well, okay. So of those October 4 full weeks, you probably worked like 2 of them fully. And like you might guys, like, you took another vacation. Like, well, I mean,
I wish.
I wish it was a vacation. So I ended up getting sick at the beginning of a work week, and then it took me a full week to recover. And then right at the tail end, as I was starting to recover, Josiah got sick. And so for like another full week. So clearly, I mean, Josiah was able to work while I was sick. But like we have a son, and so that was kind of rough. Like I was trying my best to help watch and stuff, but there were times I was like, I gotta take a nap. I can't. Or wasn't really able to fully help in that way. So thankfully, because Josiah is at home, that kind of works out. Though, yes, he does need to focus on like, we got to have food put on the table, money coming in. But like we had room this month to work with that. So you really put in like maybe half or 75% of the time in the normal work week. That week I was sick. And then you also ended up snow plowing that week, right?
Yeah. So kind of, I don't know if we talked about that before. Kind of just for fun, I feel like I've been getting a little soft. I need a little bit of manual labor, a little bit of difficulty in my life. Started doing some snow plowing with someone we know, and that's been interesting. We've done I think 2 runs so far. Yeah. So anyway, one of those days, one of those work days, I spent the whole day snow plowing. I think.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
That one was a long day. It was a somewhat early snow. It was early in October, and it was a lot. That was the shocking part, like how much had come down where you were snowplowing.
I think the one you're thinking of where I had to.
Oh, that was September.
Yeah, that was end of September.
Oh, you're right.
That was rough. I did 2 days in a row, like 20 hours each day. I haven't worked that hard in a long time. Sitting in a tractor and moving snow.
That's right. That was September.
This one in October wasn't too bad. It was maybe 6 or 8 hours. Not bad. But yeah, so that was another day I didn't work.
And then when you
no
got
problem there. But then
when you got sick.
Whatever Kelly had, I got it, and I was out for like a full week. And that week, the interesting thing about Amazon is someone's always got to be watching the account, unless you just shut it down completely. There's customer questions to answer. There's things to ship and stuff. So while I was sick, I did the minimum to maintain that, and that was tough. I was struggling, like staring at a computer screen. I just couldn't focus. So if I had to guess, I probably spent less than 5 hours that week just maintaining and making sure things were still running.
Yeah, you weren't. We weren't in the right mind to even grow the business at that point or something.
Yeah. So all in, probably only spent 3 full weeks working in October. Kind of took a week off to lay in bed.
Yeah.
So that's really awesome. 3 weeks of work for $9.5 grand in profit. Really exciting. If we hadn't been sick, who knows what numbers we could have hit. It definitely would have been a couple grand higher.
I know.
Maybe we would have hit that 15 grand number I've been looking for. But it's kind of funny. In the past year we've been doing this, we recently thought about this. I don't think there's been a single month in the past year where I actually worked 4 full weeks on this business. There's always been something distracting us, or a trip, or something that pops up, like us being sick. But yet, we've still been able to aggressively scale this and see profits like this. That's really exciting. Like how many work days have I put in this year? I don't know. I have no idea, because I don't have to ask off for vacation. Isn't that great? You probably know how much you've worked if you have a 9 to 5, and that's only because your boss is keeping track.
Right.
My boss is not. Maybe I'll take tomorrow off. I don't know. I'll see how I feel in the morning.
Oh my goodness.
Maybe I'll go snowplow. I think it might be snowing, actually. Anyway, I've also thought about recently how I really enjoy, or I currently am enjoying, what I'm doing. Amazon, in some ways, feels like a video game, and there's just different levels to beat. You got to unlock new brands to sell. Like just this week or last week, I got Ungated to sell. I already forgot what brands. Oh, Barbie.
That's a big deal. That was this week.
There's
yeah.
a lot, especially this time of year when toys are hot. I think there's going to be a lot of potential there. And then the other one is Pokemon. Pokemon has, I guess it's always been there. You know, when we were kids, it was hot. But in the past couple of years, it's really, really popular again. And I don't know if it's because, like, the people...
Is there a show again?
The people, like... I really don't know anything about it. I'm just trying to sell the stuff.
Oh my goodness.
I'm just trying to make money off Pokemon. Anyway, we can philosophize.
Philosophize?
Yeah, that's definitely a word about why Pokemon is popular again, or maybe it never was unpopular. I don't know. Anyway, another thing is every month it's like I can set a new goal to try to increase the revenue and get a new high score. Like that's my high score. This month for October it was 42 grand. What can we do in November? 50, 60, 70, 80, 100? Could be, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. And then also something else I've been thinking about a lot is growing the efficiency and delegating tasks with that so that simultaneously, while the business is scaling and growing, I'm actually reducing the amount of time and energy I put into it. And I feel like we're getting to that point. And
now, I'll stipulate that statement.
Yeah.
With, which is a totally accurate statement, not to be thought of, though, as like not wanting to do work and just backing off completely. It's really just to be able to back off the amount of hours towards this specific business so that you can start putting more hours towards others that we've wanted to grow, like this, like Entrepreneurial, like the podcast, or the travel business, or Travel Last Frontier, or other ideas we've had and wanted to grow and start. Yeah,
absolutely. I think a big thing that we saw in 2020 is the need for diversification. So we have the goal of diversifying our businesses and our income streams. So the Amazon stuff is crushing it right now. But that's kind of the only thing that we have that's making a steady, significant profit every month. So as we continue to grow that and I try to scale back the hours I have to invest, we can now start focusing on some of our other businesses and bringing them up to be something more significant. So hope to share about those in the future more. Is there anything I missed with this? I think that's all the numbers we promised.
Extremely impressed. It's super exciting. Oh, did you want to tell them what your goal is if you get what was it? What were the numbers again that you want to hit like in a month?
Yeah. So maybe early in the summer I kind of had felt like I stagnated. I was like, well, making enough money to pay the bills.
Plus some, but yeah.
That's cool. And my motivation to continue growing the business kind of was dying down. And I was like, what if my boss offered an incentive for increased revenue? And I think the idea was kind of we were satisfied with the amount of money we were paying ourselves. And so I just didn't have motivation to spend a little more time or work a little harder or smarter to make an extra $1,000. Cause another $1,000 in the bank account. I don't know. That I lost my motivation for that. So my boss, myself, genius, created an incentive program, several tiers, and based off of hitting profit metrics, I get my boss, the CEO, the company rewards me with different incentives. So the reason I'm trying to get to 15K is that's the level I need to get to. See how this is like a video game? I can unlock the next reward at 15K. But
it's fun because you get to make up the rules.
Yeah, I make the rules. I'm not gonna cheat, but I make the rules. And believe me, I know rules. Donald J. Trump. And so I've kind of gone back and forth on which reward I actually want for this level. They're kind of interchangeable, but either going to get a nice espresso machine, and that's what I'm leaning towards. Now that it's winter and it's a little darker outside, drinking a little more espresso. Yeah. We have a little machine, but want to upgrade it to something real nice.
And Josiah's not going to say it, but I will. Josiah makes a mean espresso coffee. You make this like, maybe we've looked it up before, but he makes the espresso, and then you make the cream and like the foam just right on top. It's really good.
Yeah, I don't know what it's called. I kind of just like made it up. Never been a barista. Don't know anything about different coffees. I couldn't tell you what a cappuccino is.
It honestly might be a cappuccino because there's foam on top.
Is that what I'm making?
Maybe I'm
making
cappuccinos have foam on top. But anyways, this is really good.
Yeah, we're digressing. So 15 grand in profit, probably get the reward of a cool espresso machine, and then 20 grand, which is definitely like, we're at 9.5 for October, so that's got to kind of double things up, but it is reasonable and definitely achievable within the next 12 months, if not much sooner. Get a cool smoker.
Ooh,
for smoking some meats, electric smoker some type. I was gonna do the smoker for this first 15K level, but now that it's winter, I don't think I'll use it as much as when I thought of this idea. So anyway, how do you keep yourself motivated as an entrepreneur? Let me know. I think this is a cool idea, and it's working for me, at least right now. And maybe if I keep hitting those, maybe the next reward will be a Tesla.
That would be nice.
We'll have to have a business meeting with the other parties that are vested in this.
The other partners, yeah.
Oh, we're both here.
Huh? Weird.
Should we do this now? Let's end the podcast first, then we'll talk about the Tesla. Thanks for listening, watching, whatever you're doing to be listening to my voice. You can follow us on Instagram at baconbagelak _AK. And Kelly, you're
at jellybagel_AK.
And then we post this on YouTube every Wednesday and on your favorite podcast platforms. We'll see you next week.
Bye.